I'm a teacher and owe $52,147 in student loans. Every month, I do the same impossible math. Rent, groceries, utilities, loan payment. Something always has to give. Usually, it's groceries. I was drowning financially, so I applied for a corporate job that would pay me almost the double I earned teaching. I was ready to leave teaching, the thing I loved most, because I simply couldn't afford to stay. Then, I logged into my loan servicer portal and saw a number I didn't believe. 0.0. Someone had paid off my entire debt, a stranger. The note attached said, "This payment is an investment, not a gift. Continue teaching. You'll understand in 30 years. I spent weeks trying to figure out who did it and why. When I discovered the truth, it changed everything. Not just about my career, but about what it means to invest in someone's future. Before we dive in, have you ever been helped by someone in a way that changed your life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you love stories about unexpected generosity, please subscribe so you don't miss our next one. Now let me tell you all about that day. I grew up in a small town in rural Kansas where nobody in my family had ever gone to college. My parents, Dad worked construction, Mom cleaned houses, didn't understand why I wanted to go to university when I could get a job right out of high school. But I'd always loved learning, always loved working with kids. I wanted to be a teacher. So I took out loans. Lots of them. Federal loans, private loans, whatever I could get. I went to state school, lived as cheaply as possible, worked 2 part-time jobs, got my bachelor's in elementary education, then my master's because the pay bump was worth it, or so I thought. By the time I graduated and got my first real teaching job, I was $52,847 in debt. At 22, that number felt abstract. I'll pay it off eventually, I thought. I'm doing what I love. 5 years later, at 27, that number felt like a noose around my neck. I moved to Denver 3 years ago for the teaching position at Oakwood Elementary. It's a good school in a middle-class neighborhood. The kids are great. The staff is supportive. I love my job. But I make $46,000 a year. Before taxes. After my loan payment, after rent on my tiny studio apartment, after utilities and groceries and gas for my ancient Honda Civic, I have maybe $200 left each month. And that's if nothing breaks. If my car doesn't need repairs. If I don't get sick. If nothing goes wrong. I don't go out with friends. I don't take vacations. I buy my clothes at thrift stores. I eat ramen more often than I'd like to admit. And every single month, I pay $450 toward my student loans, which barely covers the interest. The principal barely moves. At this rate, I'll be paying off these loans until I'm 50. But I still love what I do, touching children's lives, being a figure they can learn from, not just what is in the textbooks, but life lessons. For example, in September of last year, a new student joined my class. His name was Isaac Park, 8 years old, quiet, withdrawn. He sat at the back of the classroom and barely spoke to anyone. I learned from his file that his parents had recently divorced. He was living with his father, visiting his mother every other weekend. There was a note from the school counselor. "Keep an eye on Isaac. He's struggling with the transition." For the first few weeks, Isaac was nearly invisible. He didn't raise his hand. He didn't volunteer answers. At recess, he sat alone on the bench while the other kids played. His grades started coming in. He was failing. Not because he wasn't smart, I could see intelligence in his eyes, but because he wasn't trying. He'd turn in half-finished assignments. He'd zone out during lessons. After school one day in late September, I called his father. "Mr. Park, this is Maddie Chandler, Isaac's teacher. Do you have a few minutes to talk?" "Is Isaac in trouble?" "No, not trouble, but I'm concerned. He's struggling academically, and he seems very withdrawn. I'd like to help, but I need to understand what's going on at home." There was a long pause. Then Justin Park, Isaac's father, sighed. The divorce was finalized in August. Isaac's having a hard time with it. He was angry at first. Now he's just sad. I don't know how to reach him. Would it be okay if I spent some extra time with him after school? Tutoring, but also just talking. Being a stable presence? You'd do that? Of course. That's what teachers do. Ms. Chandler, thank you. Yes, please. Anything that helps. So 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, I stayed after school with Isaac. I wasn't paid for it. After-school tutoring wasn't part of my contract. But Isaac needed help, and I wasn't going to let him fail just because his parents couldn't keep their marriage together. At first, it was just academics. We'd work on his reading, his math, his handwriting. He was behind in everything, but not because he couldn't do it, because he'd stopped trying. "Why does it matter?" he asked one day in October, staring at a math worksheet. "Why does what matter?" School, homework, any of this. Everything's falling apart anyway. My heart broke. "Isaac, I know things are hard right now. I know your family is going through changes, but school matters because you matter. Your education matters. Your future matters. And I'm here to help you no matter what's happening at home, okay?" He looked up at me with those sad 8-year-old eyes. "You're not going to leave?" "No, I'm not going to leave. I'm your teacher. I'm here for you." Slowly, very slowly, Isaac started to open up. Not about the divorce, not at first, but about other things. His favorite video game, the recipe his grandma had taught him to do, the dog his mom got after she moved out. And as he opened up, he started trying again. His assignments started coming in complete. His test scores improved. By December, he was reading at grade level. By January, he was exceeding it. In mid-January, I had parent-teacher conferences. Justin Park was scheduled for 6 p.m. He arrived exactly on time, looking exhausted, but hopeful. "Mr. Park, Isaac is doing so much better," I said, showing him Isaac's progress reports. His reading has improved 2 grade levels in 4 months. His math scores are up significantly. And socially, he's making friends. He's participating in class. He's smiling again. Justin's eyes filled with tears. "I know. I see it at home, too. He's talking more, laughing. He actually told me about his day yesterday. That hasn't happened since the divorce. He's a great kid. He just needed some support. Ms. Chandler, I know you've been staying after school with him 3 times a week. I know that's not part of your job. I know you're doing it out of the kindness of your heart." His voice cracked. "You saved my son. When everything was falling apart, you were there. You gave him stability, hope. You reminded him that someone cares." I felt my own eyes getting wet. I care about all my students. Isaac just needed a little extra help. If there's anything I can do to thank you, anything at all, please tell me. I smiled. Just keep being there for him. Keep being a good dad. That's all he needs. Justin nodded, but something in his expression told me he wanted to do more. February passed, then early March. My car broke down on a Tuesday in early March. Transmission issues. It was going to cost $200 to fix. Money I absolutely didn't have. I called a tow truck, had the car taken to a mechanic, and resigned myself to taking the bus for the foreseeable future. That afternoon, Justin showed up to pick Isaac up from school. He saw me waiting at the bus stop across from the school. "Ms. Chandler? Car trouble?" "Yeah, transmission's shot. I'll figure it out." "Where do you live? I can give you a ride." "Oh, you don't have to. Please. It's the least I can do." So I accepted. Isaac was in the back seat, quietly reading. I sat in front, my bag on my lap. We made small talk. Justin was a software engineer, he told me. He'd been working at a startup for the past 6 years. Long hours, but good people. When we got to my apartment, I thanked him profusely. Grabbed my bag from the back seat. Didn't realize until later that I'd left something behind, a folder containing my job application. I'd applied for a corporate training position the week before, a company called Summit Solutions. They trained corporate employees on software systems. The job paid $78,000 a year. I hadn't told anyone I was applying, not my principal, not my fellow teachers, not even my best friend Julianne, who taught 4th grade down the hall. But the application was in Justin's car, and I didn't know if he'd seen it. On March 15th, a Saturday, I woke up early and did what I did every month. Logged into my loan servicer portal to check my balance and schedule my payment. I expected to see the familiar number, $52,147. Maybe a few dollars less if I was lucky. Instead, The screen loaded and showed 0.00. I stared at it, blinked, refreshed the page. Still 0. My first thought, system error. My second thought, this is going to be a nightmare to fix. I called the loan servicer. They opened at 8 a.m. Eastern, which was 6 a.m. in Denver. I waited, phone in hand, until exactly 6. Great Lakes Student Loan Services, this is Monica. How can I help you? Hi, I'm calling about my account. There's an error on my balance. It's showing 0, but I owe over $52,000. Let me pull up your account. Can I have your account number? I gave it to her. Okay, Ms. Chandler, I'm showing that your loan was paid in full on March 14th. Yesterday, electronic transfer of $5,247. My hands started shaking. That's impossible, I didn't pay it. No, ma'am. The payment came from a third party, a trust fund. What trust fund? I don't have a trust fund. The payment came from an entity called the 2054 Educational Foundation. I don't understand. Who would pay off my loans? I'm not able to disclose that information, ma'am. But there is a note attached to the payment. Would you like me to read it? Yes, please. There was a pause as she pulled it up. It says, "For Maddie Chandler, this payment is an investment, not a gift. Continue teaching. You'll understand in 30 years. Signed, a friend from the future." I couldn't breathe. Can you read that again? She did. I thanked her, hung up, and sat on my couch in complete shock. Someone, some anonymous person, had paid off my entire student loan debt. Over $50,000 in one payment. And they wanted me to continue teaching. And they said I'd understand in 30 years. I called Julianne immediately. Maddie, it's 6 a.m. What's wrong? Someone paid off my student loans. What? All of them. $52,000. Gone. Paid in full. Who? I don't know. It's anonymous. They left a note saying it's an investment and I'll understand in 30 years. Julianne was quiet for a moment. Maddie, are you sure this is real? It's not a scam? I called the loan servicer. It's real. The money cleared. My balance is 0. Oh my God. I don't know what to do. Who would do this? I don't have rich relatives. This doesn't make sense. Maybe it's someone whose life you changed. A former student? Jules, I've only been teaching for 5 years. My oldest former students are like 12 years old. They don't have $50,000. Then their parents? Maybe. But why would they be anonymous? And why that weird note about 30 years? I don't know. But Maddie, this is a miracle. Don't question it. Accept it. I can't just accept $50,000 from a stranger. Yes, you can. Because whoever did this wants you to have it. They want you to keep teaching. So keep teaching. But I couldn't let it go. I needed to know who did this. Over the weekend, I did research. I Googled the 2054 Educational Foundation. Nothing came up. It didn't exist as a registered nonprofit. It was just a name on a trust fund. That was 30 years in the future. The note said I'd understand in 30 years. Was that connected? I made a list of possibilities. 1. A former student's parent. But none of the parents I'd worked with had that kind of money. Oakwood was a middle-class school. Comfortable, but not wealthy. 2. A random philanthropist. But why me specifically? There were thousands of teachers drowning in debt. Why choose me? 3. Someone who knew I was leaving teaching. The note said, "Continue teaching." That implied they knew I was considering stopping. That last thought stopped me cold. Only one person knew I was thinking about leaving teaching. Well, 2 people if you counted Summit Solutions HR. But I hadn't told anyone else, except the application had been in Justin's car. Had he seen it? On Monday, I went to school determined to focus on my students and not think about the mysterious loan payment. That lasted until lunch, when Principal Roberts called me into her office. Maddie, can I talk to you for a minute? I followed her into her office, stomach sinking. Had I done something wrong? I got an interesting call this morning, she said, from Summit Solutions. They said you interviewed with them last week for a corporate training position? My face went hot. Yes, I applied. I'm sorry, I should have told you. You don't need to apologize. Teachers are allowed to look for other jobs. But Maddie, I need to ask, are you leaving? I don't know. I love teaching. I love this school. But I'm drowning financially. That job pays almost double what I make here. I don't want to leave, but I don't know if I can afford to stay. Principal Roberts nodded slowly. I understand. Teaching doesn't pay nearly what it should. And you're one of the best teachers I have. If you leave, it'll be a huge loss for our students. But I can't ask you to sacrifice your financial security for this job. I haven't decided anything yet. Well, let me know when you do. And Maddie, whatever you choose, you have my support. That afternoon after school, I was cleaning up my classroom when there was a knock on my door. Justin Park stood in the doorway. Mr. Park, is everything okay? Is Isaac all right? Isaac's fine. He's at my mom's house. Can I talk to you for a minute? Of course. Come in. Justin closed the door behind him and stood awkwardly in the middle of my classroom, looking at the alphabet posters and student artwork on the walls. I took a breath. I'd been building up to this moment for days. It was you, wasn't it? I said. Justin looked at me. What? My student loans. Someone paid them off 3 weeks ago. $52,847. Anonymous donor. A trust fund called the 2054 Educational Foundation. I watched his face carefully. It was you. He didn't deny it. Didn't look surprised that I'd figured it out. He just nodded slowly. Yes, it was me. Even though I'd suspected, had been almost certain for the past week, hearing him confirm it made my knees weak. I sat down at my desk. Why? I asked. Justin, why would you do that? He pulled up one of the small student chairs and sat down across from me, looking absurd in the tiny seat, but also somehow vulnerable. Because you saved my son. His voice cracked on the last word. Maddie, when Isaac came to your class in September, he was broken. The divorce destroyed him. He was failing school. He stopped talking. He stopped caring about anything. I was terrified I was losing him. Justin wiped his eyes. And then you stayed after school with him 3 times a week. For months. You weren't paid for it. You didn't have to do it. But you did. Because you cared. Because you saw a kid who needed help and you helped him. That's my job. No. Your job is to teach 2nd grade curriculum from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Everything else, the after-school tutoring, the phone calls home, the extra attention, the emotional support, that was you. Your kindness. Your dedication. He looked at me intently. By December, Isaac was doing better academically, but more importantly, he was doing better emotionally. He was happy again. He was talking to me, laughing, being a kid. And it was because of you. You gave me my son back. I felt tears running down my face. So when I saw the job application you left in my car, Justin continued, I understood. You were leaving teaching. Not because you don't love it, but because you're drowning in debt. You were being forced to choose between your passion and financial survival. How did you even have that kind of money? I asked, still trying to process everything. 3 weeks ago, my company was acquired, the startup I've been working at for 6 years. We got bought out by a larger tech company. The acquisition closed on February 14th. Okay. I was one of the founding engineers. I had equity in the company. When it sold, my shares were worth about $4.2 million. After taxes, I netted around $2.8 million. I couldn't speak. $2.8 million. That was an incomprehensible amount of money to me. I don't need $2.8 million, Justin said. I need enough to live comfortably, to give Isaac a good life, to save for his college. Maybe $1 million total. The rest, Maddie, it's just numbers in a bank account. But for you? $50,000 was the difference between staying in a career you love and leaving it. So I thought, what if I could remove that obstacle? What if I could make it so you could choose to teach instead of being forced to leave? Justin, I can't accept this. It's too much. It's already done. The loan is paid. You can't return it. The servicer won't accept repayment. The trust fund was set up specifically for this, and it's irreversible. But why didn't you just tell me? Why the anonymous donation? Why the cryptic note? Justin smiled slightly. Because if I'd come to you and said, I want to pay off your student loans, you would have said no. You would have been too proud, too uncomfortable. This way, by the time you figured out it was me, the deed was already done. You couldn't refuse. He was right. If he'd asked me first, I would have said no. And the note, I asked, about understanding in 30 years? That's something I want to explain. But Maddie, first I need to know, are you angry with me for doing this without asking? I thought about it. Was I angry? No, I was overwhelmed, confused, grateful beyond words, but not angry. No, I said, I'm not angry. I don't know how to process this. Justin, you changed my life. You gave me back my freedom, my choice, my future. How do I even begin to thank you for that? You don't thank me. You just keep teaching. Keep being the person who stays after school for kids like Isaac. Keep making a difference. That's all the thanks I need. I went home that night in a daze. $52,147 gone. Just like that. For 5 years, that debt had been a weight around my neck. Every decision I made, where I lived, what I ate, whether I could afford to fix my car, was influenced by those loans. And now they were gone. I called my mom. Maddie, what's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Something incredible happened. I told her everything. About Isaac, about Justin, about the loan payment. My mom was quiet for a long time. Then she said, Honey, do you remember when you told us you wanted to go to college? Yeah, you and Dad tried to talk me out of it. Because we were scared. We didn't have money for college. We didn't understand that world. We thought you were setting yourself up for failure. I know. But you went anyway. You took out those loans. You worked your way through school. You became a teacher. And Maddie, we were wrong. You didn't fail. You found your purpose. And now someone's telling you, keep doing it. Keep being a teacher. Keep changing kids' lives. But Mom, it's so much money. So what? He has it. You need it. He wants to give it. Accept the gift, Maddie. Accept it and keep doing what you were meant to do. The next day, I called Summit Solutions. Hi, this is Maddie Chandler. I interviewed for the corporate training position last week. I'm calling to withdraw my application. I've decided to stay in teaching. Thank you for the opportunity. Then I went to Principal Roberts' office. I'm staying, I said. I'm not leaving Oakwood. She smiled. I'm so glad. That weekend, Justin invited me to coffee. He wanted to explain the note. We met at a small cafe near the school. He ordered black coffee. I ordered a latte I could actually afford now. The note, I said. Why did it say I'd understand in 30 years? Justin smiled. How old are you? 27. And you'll probably teach until you're at least 57, right? Maybe longer? Probably. That's 30 years. Maddie, think about how many students you'll have in 30 years. If you teach 20 kids a year for 30 years, that's 600 children. 600 lives you'll touch. And your impact doesn't stop there. Those kids grow up. They become parents, teachers, leaders. They pass on the values you taught them. Your influence ripples forward. He paused. This isn't a gift. It's an investment. I'm investing in the 600 kids you'll teach over the next 30 years. Kids like Isaac who need someone to believe in them, someone to care. In 30 years, when you look back at your career, you'll see hundreds of lives you changed, and you'll understand. You'll understand why I did this. I wiped my eyes. But what if I don't live up to that? What if I'm not as good a teacher as you think I am? You will be, because you already are. Isaac isn't the first kid you've helped, and he won't be the last. You're exactly the kind of teacher who should be in the classroom. And now, you can be. Without the financial stress. Without the constant worry. You can just teach. That was 6 months ago. It's September now. A new school year. I have a new class of second graders. 20 bright-eyed 7- and 8-year-olds who are counting on me to teach them, to challenge them, to help them grow. Isaac is in 3rd grade now. I see him sometimes in the hallway. He waves and grins. He's thriving. My student loans are gone. My car is fixed. I moved to a slightly bigger apartment. Nothing fancy, but it has a bedroom separate from the living room, which feels like a luxury. I'm still a teacher making $46,000 a year, but I'm not drowning anymore. I can breathe. And every day when I stand in front of my classroom and look at my students, I think about what Justin said. 600 kids over 30 years. 600 chances to make a difference. I think about the note, "You'll understand in 30 years." I don't fully understand yet. I'm only 6 months into this gift. But I'm beginning to. I'm a better teacher now. More present. More patient. More creative. Because I'm not exhausted from financial anxiety. And maybe that's the investment Justin was talking about. Not just in the students I'll teach, but in the teacher I'll become when I'm free to fully embrace this calling. Sometimes I imagine what my life would look like 30 years from now if I'd taken that corporate job. I'd be 57, financially comfortable, probably retired early with a good 401k. I'd have a nice house. Maybe I'd travel. Maybe I'd have hobbies. But I wouldn't have the 600 students. I wouldn't have the kids who needed me the way Isaac needed me. I wouldn't have the moments of breakthrough when a struggling reader finally sounds out a word. I wouldn't have the hand-drawn cards that say, "You're the best teacher ever." I wouldn't have the parents who cry and thank me for saving their child. I wouldn't have a life of meaning. And maybe that's what Justin understood when he paid off my loans. Maybe he understood that some people are meant to do work that matters more than it pays, and that those people need someone to invest in them. Not as a charity case, but as an investment in all the lives they'll touch. Isaac's mom sent me a card last month. "Dear Ms. Chandler, I don't think we've ever properly met, but I wanted to thank you. Justin told me what you did for Isaac last year, how you stayed after school with him, how you helped him through the worst time of his life. I was so wrapped up in my own pain during the divorce that I didn't see how much he was struggling. Thank you for seeing what I couldn't see. Thank you for being there when I wasn't able to be. You changed his life. You probably saved it. I will never forget that. With gratitude, Jennifer Park." I told Julienne the whole story a few weeks ago. She cried. "Maddie, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. I still can't quite believe it happened. Do you ever worry that you owe him something? That you have to live up to some impossible standard now?" "Sometimes. But then I remember what he said. It's not a gift. It's an investment. And investments aren't about obligation. They're about belief. He believes I'll make a difference. So I just have to keep doing what I was already doing. Keep teaching. Keep caring. Keep showing up for the kids who need me. You're going to change so many lives, Maddie. I hope so. That's all I want. To look back someday and know that I mattered, that I helped. This morning, I got to school early. I do that now, not because I have to, but because I want to. I like being in my classroom before the chaos starts. I like preparing. I like the quiet. I was writing the day's agenda on the board when Principal Roberts knocked on my door. "Maddie, can I talk to you for a minute?" "Of course." She came in and closed the door. "I wanted to tell you something. This is confidential, but I think you should know. We had a donation to the school this week. Anonymous. $100,000. The donor specified it should go toward teacher supplies, classroom materials, and support for students in need." "That's amazing. Who donated it?" "I don't know. It came through a trust fund, the 2054 Educational Foundation." I went very still. "What? Does that name mean something to you?" I nodded slowly. "Yeah, it means something." Justin hadn't just invested in me. He'd invested in my school, in my students, in all of us. After school today, I called Justin. "The donation to Oakwood. That was you, wasn't it?" He didn't deny it. "Yes. I wanted to. Maddie, you're not the only great teacher at that school. And your students aren't the only kids who deserve resources. I had the money. The school needed it. It was an easy decision." "You're changing lives. You know that, right?" "No. You're changing lives. I'm just removing obstacles." "Same thing." "Maybe." He paused. "Maddie, Isaac asks about you all the time. He wants to know if you're still his teacher. I keep explaining you teach second grade and he's in third, but he doesn't care. You're his teacher forever as far as he's concerned." I smiled. Tell him I'm still here. Tell him I'm still teaching. Tell him I'm not going anywhere. I will. And Maddie, thank you for staying. I'm 27 years old. I have 30 years of teaching ahead of me, 600 students. Countless lives changed. I don't know what the world will look like in 30 years. I don't know if I'll still be at Oakwood, or if I'll have moved to a different school or a different city. I don't know if teaching will have changed, or if I'll have changed. But I know this. In 30 years, I'll look back at March 15th, 2024, the day a stranger paid off my student loans, and I'll understand. I'll understand that Justin Park didn't just save me from debt. He saved me from a life of wondering, what if? What if I'd stayed in teaching? How many kids would I have helped? How many lives would I have changed? Now I'll never have to wonder, because I'm staying. I'm teaching. I'm investing 30 years of my life in 600 children. And in 30 years, when I retire and look back at my career, I'll finally, fully understand what Justin meant. This wasn't a gift, it was an investment. And the return, measured not in dollars, but in lives changed, in futures shaped, in children who grew up knowing that someone believed in them, will be infinite. Have you ever been helped by someone in a way that changed your life? Or made a decision to stay in work that mattered more than it paid? Share your story in the comments below. If this story about teachers, unexpected generosity, and investing in futures touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe for more meaningful stories every day. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss our next inspiring tale. Thanks for watching.